up? I am Shelby and I have no idea how your year is tracking. Maybe you're freaking killing it in all of the ways. You're hitting like all the goals you set, you're energized, you're pumped up. Maybe you've hit like a kind of lull in the past 6 months. You haven't done what you wanted to, things aren't working out quite the way that you envisioned them. Or maybe you're just like you're somewhere in between. This video is more for the latter. It's for those people who want to get back on track with their year. It's so easy when things aren't working out the way that you planned them to in your head to not sit down and reflect on like what the hell happened. To avoid reflecting, because it'd mean you have to look at your personal failings, the things that went wrong, and kind of just admit to yourself like you went off track, you didn't get what you wanted to done. But if you don't sit down for a second and rethink, the next 6 months will be just like the last 6 months. You can change, you can move, you can grow, you can set plans, set goals at any point that you want to. So if you're someone and you know you need to sit down, you need to get yourself back on track for the year, here I am telling you to sit down, take an hour or two, print out the worksheet in the description, or get out your own notebook. Honestly, I don't care if you download the worksheet, I don't care if you follow these 6 things. If you have your own ideas of what you need to do to get yourself back on track, do it now. If you need some guidance, keep watching. So step 1, whenever I do a check-in with myself, the first thing I do is review. A good chunk of the year has already gone by. How are you feeling? How are the vibes? Reviewing how you feel about the last 6 months or however many months, depending on when you're watching this video, will help you to figure out what went wrong, like pinpoint what you're doing that isn't okay, that isn't working. And it'll give you that fire, that motivation to embrace the rest of the year. In the worksheet that I've linked down below, I have a few prompting questions. Just a general, how do you feel about the last 6 months? I would take that as a good opportunity to just like dump everything that you're thinking onto the page. Revisit the goals that you set and check in on how they went for you. Think about what's made you feel bad about the last 6 months. What isn't working? What is working? What made you feel inspired, excited? Get it all down on paper. You don't have to use these guiding questions. I just encourage you to literally free write, put everything that you're thinking down onto paper about the last half of the year. Dumping all of your thoughts out on paper is super like therapeutic, and it's also really helpful when you're doing like a check-in. Now that you've written freely about the last 6 months, take what you've learned, simplify it, and put it into a continue, start, and stop list. So what kind of things do you want to continue doing that have worked really well in the last 6 months? Like maybe you've been doing weekly reviews, or you've been bullet journaling, getting out in nature more, whatever it is, chuck that down. What do you want to start doing? Because I don't feel like this is really a place to set goals. For me, it was more of a like, I want to start being kinder to people in the mornings. I want to start being kinder to myself when I do something dumb. And then what do you want to stop doing? So I feel like this is a really good way to look at it from a really high level and get a really good overview of like what's happened in the last 6 months and what you've learned from it. So the next step is to brain dump the things that you want to do for the rest of the year. This is a brain dump, so just go crazy, write whatever you want to write. What you should be doing, what you've always wanted to do, what you feel bad for not doing, what you feel like you should be doing, but you're not really sure that you want to do it. In this case, some of your goals might be the same as the ones that you set for New Year's. That's fine, all good, chuck it in there. The next step is to actually choose what your intentions are for the rest of the year. The book called The One Thing, I haven't actually read it yet. It applies sort of the 80-20 principle by the sound of it. Prompts you with the question, what is the one thing that I can do right now that by doing it, everything else will become easier or unnecessary? Maybe if your one thing, your one goal is to wake up earlier, that'll make everything easier because you'll have more time in the day, so you'll be able to exercise and you'll be able to journal. Maybe if you started making YouTube videos, you'd achieve your goal of doing YouTube, but you'd also achieve your goal of becoming a better speaker, and you'd achieve your goal of becoming more confident as a person. Find the top thing that's gonna have the most impact. Next up, write out an action plan. Write down your top goal and write down all the baby steps that you need to get done to get that goal accomplished. If you've picked your one thing and you really want to get focused, I would recommend setting a goal for each month for the rest of the year. For example, maybe you want to learn to take amazing photos, so your goal for next month is to learn how to shoot in manual mode like a pro. Your goal for the month after is learn how to edit in Lightroom like a pro, and you have a bunch of baby steps underneath both of those goals. And make sure that you set yourself things that you can do literally this week so that you get started. And the last step is to figure out when you're going to revisit all of this stuff. As we know, I'm a fan of weekly check-ins, monthly check-ins, just to make sure that I'm still working on what matters, that I'm feeling right in myself, because it's easy to get off track when you don't reflect. And you might be feeling motivated now after going through this process, but it could be that in a month's time your motivation is gone, and that's when the monthly check-in can really help, because you revisit everything, you look at your reasons and you look at your baby steps and you're like, ah, yes, I remember this, I remember why I want to do it, I'm still keen. So that's a mid-year reset process, or it's not even a mid-year reset process, it's a reset process for whenever you want, whenever you're like, things aren't working, I need to start moving forward, you can revisit this video and hopefully it'll help you. There are probably a ton of other activities that you could do to get yourself back in the zone, but if you do this and you stick to it, I promise things will go uphill from here. And if you like this video, you will probably dig my 7 days of goal setting video series. It was my goals week 2016. I miss goals week. That was such a good week. I need another little project like that. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, you should, because this is the stuff that I'm into. This is the stuff that I make every single week. And if you need that motivation, holla, I'm here. I love and I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you so much for sticking around watching my channel. I hope that the rest of your year is amazing. If you have any ideas of what you would chuck into a mid-year reset process for someone who's maybe a little bit off track, chuck your ideas in the comments below. You guys always come up with the most amazing stuff that I'm like, yes, gonna use that in a future video. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. All of the love, and I will see you soon.